Well, hello, welcome back to Tail 3 Cabins. Earlier in the summer I did a little video on how I'm going to power my pole barn, and I started reviewing portable power stations that you can charge with solar, AC adapters, or your car. And a company reached out to me called Oukitel, and at first I thought I've already done the portable power station video, but I started looking into their product a little bit, and it intrigued me because the price tag of this is much lower than the unit that I reviewed earlier in the summer, and it basically packs about the same punch. And that unit I did earlier in the summer was a Bluetti EB55, and this comes in around $500. And this comes in around $399. And right now they have a coupon where you can get it 10% off, so $360. One thing you can see right off the bat is that this is a bit more compact than this one is. It is a little longer when you're talking side to side, but it does seem to be more portable. It almost reminds me of like a work site lunchbox, you know, something that you'd carry around. The only thing is that this lunchbox has a 16-pound peanut butter and jelly sandwich on the inside. So I received this a couple weeks ago. I've had a little bit of time to use it and play around with it. I unpacked it. Everything was nicely packed and protected. There was no issues when I unpacked it. One nice thing that I found, it came with a case for all of the accessories that come with it. It came with a car charging port. It came with its own solar charging cable, which I'll use on my solar panels to test out later, and the AC adapter. The AC adapter is also much smaller than the Bluetti adapter that I had. The Bluetti charger is quite a bit larger, has a fan that runs all the time, and it's a little bit loud, and it runs whether the power station is charged or not. So this is one thing you want to keep an eye on when you're charging the Bluetti, is once it's done to just unplug it, otherwise you're wasting power. So why do I say it packs the same punch as a Bluetti or Jackery 500? Is because it packs more watt hours than those two batteries. It has 614 watt hours, which if you compare that to a Jackery 500 for $500, that one only has 518 watt hours. So I was a little bit surprised at the price point of this because it plays with some of its bigger siblings. It's a CN505 or 505. And let's just go over what we got in the front. It has two AC outlets, a 3-prong and a 2-prong. It has 4 USB ports and a USB-C port. It has two DC outlets here, DC outlet here, like your cigarette lighter port, and this is your charging port. There are different quadrants once you turn the display on. And another thing I liked about the display is that it gives you more information than the Bluetti that I've been using. It gives a better representation of what's going on with the battery. So it's 100% charged right now. Under its current load, which there is no load, it says it's going to last 99 hours. And how many watts is going out or could be coming in is 0. So it's very helpful to have that timer on there. If you're consuming power with this and you want to know how long it's going to last, this meter is going to change, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Let me turn the light on in here. It's pretty bright outside though, coming through the window. It also has an area light in the back, which has 3 levels: low, medium, and high. And it's pretty bright, and it's great for a little area light in a room. This is great for a little power failure where you know that the power is only going to be out for a couple hours, and you just want to run some lights and maybe your devices. You could even hook a TV up to here. It does not have the SOS feature, but I don't think that's a game changer. Like most portable power stations out on the market, this has lithium iron phosphate batteries, and they're good for 2,000 cycles. After 2,000 cycles, it'll bring this down to 80%. So if you were to divide 2,000 by 365, we're talking about 5.5 years, and it'll be down to 80%. And that's every day if you were going to discharge and charge this thing, which most people aren't. A lot of people are going to use this for power failure, so they might only use it a couple times a year. If you're a camper, you might take it out camping. I myself could see using this in like a hunting blind. It's small and compact enough to leave it in there, lock it in there, and if I want to charge my phone, charge camera batteries, just have a little bit of power up in a hunting blind, this is perfect size. It's not too big and bulky, but it still is going to give me a decent amount of wattage out of this device. It can be charged and discharged at the same time. So if I had this hooked to solar panels, I could still be using the AC outlets and still be bringing power into it. Now when it comes to that 614 watt hours, usually all these power stations have an efficiency. They're not all totally efficient when it comes to using 100% power out of the device. Most of them are around the 80% range, 80 to 85%. If your device is being used on the 12 volt side of things, say the USB ports or up here, you're going to get more efficiency out of it, up to 95% of the efficiency of this 614 watt hour battery. If you're going to use the inverter where the plugs are, the inverter takes up some of that power to convert it, and it's going to reduce the efficiency. So you need to take that into consideration. So if you have 614 watt hours and you're using the inverter, well, you might only get 520 or 540 watt hours out of this while using the inverter. So if you have a power brick for like your phone or your laptop or something, you probably want to just go directly into the USB ports and not even worry about the inverter itself. It'll be more efficient and you'll get much more power out of this. So I've got the Oukitel hooked up to my arcade machine, and when I got those power failures, right now it says it's pulling 40 watts. There's a monitor in here, there's sensitive electronics in it, and it's telling me it'll run for 12 more hours at this wattage. Now the signal coming out of these AC outlets is a pure sine wave, and that's much safer and better for your electronic devices. Now when it comes to charging, just about any method you're going to use here, whether it's going to be the AC adapter, solar connection, or to your vehicle, you're going to get about 75 to 80 watts of charging. I think on the AC adapter, I did it and charged around 83 or 84 watts. I have 200 watts of solar panels on my shed that run into my pole barn. And it was a nice sunny day, so I took the Oukitel out there and hooked up my solar panels to it. At first, I was only getting 75 watts, and I think there was a little bit of milky sunshine out there. I went back with the Bluetti and tested that to see what I was getting, and I was getting 125 watts, and then I went back to this and got it up to around 80 watts. So no matter what you're going to do, you're only get about 80 watts put into this, which means it's going to take a little longer to charge than, say, the Bluetti or some of the other devices. Now that could be a bad thing for some people, but I don't think it's a deal killer. If you want to charge this from 0 back to 100%, it's going to take around 7.5 hours, basically no matter what method you use, as long as you got some good solar sunshine. Now, the Bluetti can charge a little bit quicker, but I've seen people online that try to max these things out, try to tax them, short them out, see how quickly they can charge them, really run them through the mill, and most people are not going to do that. The quicker you charge some of these batteries, the more harm you're going to do to them. So the Bluetti can charge a lot faster, but quick is not always the name of the game. Slow and steady a lot of times win the race, and slow and steady is probably what is best for these types of batteries in here. So when I first got approached by Oukitel, I didn't know much about them. I started researching a little bit, and they're primarily known for making ruggedized phones and ruggedized tablets, mostly overseas. But they're starting to try to get their feet wet with the portable power station market. They have this model, and they just came out with another model that is 2,000 watts that really piques my interest, because that would probably supply everything I need in my pole barn. And I think that would be a game changer for that pole barn. I've been using the Bluetti in there right now, but it's got its limitations. And the 2,000 watts, I could probably run a compressor, some high wattage things. So they're trying to make a splash in the portable power station market, and I think they have. I really like this aluminum case on here. It's very sturdy, it's very packed, it feels very solid. I think the metal on the outside here also helps it as a heat sink to reduce heat, because very few times have I heard the fan come on. I charged this from 0 to 100%. Never heard the fan come on in here. I did put a heat gun on here, and this did warm up to the touch, got to be about 130 degrees. Another thing I like compared to the other models is they supplied a case for everything. All the cables and the charger all fit in here nice and compact. You know where it is, you know where it goes. You don't have to worry about something being mislabeled. You don't have to worry about mixing up cables with another device. So that's pretty cool that it's got a nice little carrying case. Keep it together. When you need it, you pull it off the shelf. If you're going to go out camping, you pull it off the shelf with its case and you're ready to go. Some people might say it's not in the class of a Jackery 500 or an EB55, but it does pack more watt hours than those two do. It's compact, and it just depends. The price point is much lower than those two. So for $500, you're looking at a Bluetti EB55, a Jackery 500. This currently is at $400 right now. I'm going to leave a link where there's a 10% coupon, and that will bring the price down to $360. And when you're comparing apples to apples, the Bluetti has 518 watt hours. This has 614 watt hours. The Jackery 500 has 518 watt hours and only has one AC outlet on it. So far, I've been playing with this for a couple weeks. I've taken it out into my pole barn. I've charged it with solar. I've charge my laptop. I put it on my laptop and used the USB 3 port. I was getting 60 watts into my laptop, and I had my laptop doing some video rendering to it, which is very taxing to the processor on it, and it consumes a lot of power while you're doing that. So I was still able to run my laptop no problems and charge it in the background. Okay, for a portion of this video I was running 2 of my quartz halogen lights back there, and they're 500 a piece, but there's a low and a high setting. I had them both on low, which was about 400 watts pulling out of here, and then I did turn one on high, which would probably be around 700 or 800 watts. The unit flickered the lights a little bit and then eventually just cut itself off and shut down. So it went above 500 watts for a little while, but it's not going to do it for more than 10 or 15 seconds. And it shuts itself down, which is safety protection because it doesn't want to overload the battery. So these will come with some sort of battery protection in the case of me overloading it just now. And also a charging protection. If it's too cold out below 32 degrees, a lot of these will not charge, and they have sensors in there, so it won't damage the lithium ion batteries. If you're going camping, you're going to be out in the wilderness for a while, but you're trying to keep your food from spoiling, and you don't want to use a cooler and ice, well, this will power one of those 12-volt Dometic fridges for a couple days. In many cases, 60 hours, depending on the brand. It'll be continuous on the 12-volt side, which is nice. Some other units will cut off if they don't sense power for a little while, and to save battery, they just shut themselves off. Obviously, in those refrigerators, the compressor goes on and off, but this one stays continuous. So I know when I'm getting ready to make a big purchase, I usually go on YouTube and forums, and I do as much research as I can, find as many videos, and a lot of them are repetitious, but a lot of times you'll learn a little bit something new or a little bit different angle than the other video showed. And that's all I'm doing here, is just bringing this product to light and just showing you what I've experienced. And for what I can see, I like the portability of this. It has its use when it comes to camping or when we're going to be on our hunting blind. So I'm going to definitely take this down to Southern Ohio with me and use it. I'm also thinking about leaving this at Tennessee because a lot of times we get little power failures down there during bad weather, and a lot of renters ask me, do I have a generator or do I have this or that? And I don't really want them to be messing around with the generator down there. This could tide them over, charge their devices, give them a lamp or two, and even power the TV down there for a little while. So I'm going to leave a link down in the description below if you want to take a closer look at this. I'll also put a coupon code that was given me by Oukitel, and then just go do your own homework. And that's going to do it for me. I appreciate you watching these videos. Hope you enjoy and subscribe, and keep an eye on us. Take care, everybody.